Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, Wykert Realtors Gulf Properties, and Butch Ostelet Autoplex.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Today I'm joined by my good friend Josh Barton, and Josh, it's been a while since we've been on, real excited, wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things Home of Grace has been doing out in the community, because that's become obviously one of the focal points, getting out more. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's start with maybe an update on the Home of Grace, where we're at. It's been about 6 months since we've been on.
Yeah, maybe a little 10-second overview for those that aren't familiar with Home of Grace. We're a 3-month faith-based addiction recovery program. Right. 120-bed men's facility in Van Cleve and a 40-bed women's facility in Gaucher. And we have people that come in from all over the country. So during this Christmas season, things usually slow down a little bit. A lot of people try to wait until the first of the year to wait for help. Right. So our numbers are a little bit lower now than they generally are January, February. So we probably have 85, 90 men in the men's program right now, and 20-something ladies at the women's program. And so they're kind of day in the life of the Home of Grace, going through their counseling, group counseling, classroom instruction, those things on a daily basis.
I know we were talking before we came on the air, and I can remember as you were talking, I was smiling about it. You know, best present you could ever give somebody is to get them help or get them in a place. And, I can reflect back all those years, but I can also remember that pair of boots that John Rushton gave me all those years ago. When he was able to go home, I didn't have anything, but he thought enough of me to leave those Timberland boots for me. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. And like you said, it really was the best present, because I was putting my life back together. And, you certainly want to encourage, families not to wait, because there is no guarantee on a tomorrow. But that's sort of something we think about. That
I love watching during the holiday season, the men come together out there and how they encourage and love on each other, and the families that come back out there and sometimes have the healthiest, best Christmas or Thanksgiving that they've had in years, watching that loved one have peace and joy for the first time in a long time. And so, that was one thing that I really wanted to communicate today, that for that individual or family that's dealing with addiction in their life right now, please reach out. Don't wait. Don't say, well, let me wait till January. January may not come. Right. And one of the best gifts, as you just said, that they could give their family or their loved one is to get help.
Now, this time of year, it's always important giving back. And you see a lot of nonprofits doing that. A lot of nonprofits, we talk about end of year tax giving, but I think what's been more important is nonprofits have started to see that if they can find a match, they can double, what your gift is. And I know that's the same.
Yeah, we've been super blessed with Lemon Molar Insurance over the last several years. They do two things. One is they give us a great $30,000 matching gift opportunity at the end of the year. As you mentioned, most donations or most nonprofits receive probably 70% or 80% of your donations come in the last quarter, last couple months of the year. So you really have to make up during that time what you're going to really count on and depend on throughout the rest of the year. So we're super grateful for Lemon Molar Insurance providing that matching gift. And we would love for anybody to come alongside them and join them in that, help us maximize that gift. But they also provide our Christmas party every year for our men's group. Right. And so they used to have a really nice staff party for themselves, and they've decided to use all the funds that they were spending on their personal Christmas party for their staff to now come out and feed our men. And they have just a big, wonderful activities for the guys and their families. And I'm very we're very fortunate to have Lemon Moeller in our corner and helping the Home of Grace.
Of course, Scott and work very, very well, and it's amazing to see a small business, but like you said, they were just thinking how they could make a small difference, and anybody can do that. It's not restricted to them.
Right. We have a family in Biloxi that is sponsoring our men's group. They're providing Chick-fil-A for all the men, and so we're super grateful. Doug Holden, Doug Holden is actually from Van Cleve, but his business is in Biloxi. But Doug Holden, they're providing Chick-fil-A for all of our men right before Christmas. And so that was another really cool way for him to come along, their group to come alongside our men and serve the Chick-fil-A for them.
I know that, that is part of the things of getting healthy is you start thinking not about yourself, but think about others. And when you see people in the community do that, you are planting the seed to those men that are out there that they can make a difference. And like to always tell people, as they're on their journey, even if you're out there just 4 or 5 weeks, you're certainly can offer something to somebody that's been there 4 or 5 days. Right. And you start seeing that pass it on type mentality. And the Home of Grace has changed so much, just in the time that we've been there, you and I, just to see this facility, when you come out there, people are stunned because I think they're thinking that, it's just going to be a little Quonset hut with some little cots, and this is a big operation.
Yeah, we're very blessed. A lot of people say it looks like a small junior college at the men's campus, and we have some exciting plans we'll be talking about in the future, hopefully for a new women's campus project. But we're very, very fortunate to have the facilities that we have, and it's a first-class facility. And what we can't say enough about is our staff. We have a group of men and women that serve the men and women in our program like none other. They really have a heart for the men. They go above and beyond to help encourage and motivate those individuals. And so that's really what sets the foundation of the program.
I think we've just got a couple minutes on this segment, but I wanted to talk real quickly about Dressing But Messy. What a great event, unique. Everybody's still talking about it, but it was a great event to come out because these are not things that you do every day. And,
right.
So I know you're pleased at how that turned out.
Very pleased. It was a great event. People really understand a little bit more about having to get involved with someone in addiction. We talk about that often, even though dressing up for that event, having to get your hands dirty in that dinner really reminds you of when you really want to help someone in addiction, you have to get involved.
Right.
And so we were grateful for the scholarship monies that we raised for that night.
And I told you I've been bringing you a check around for the last few weeks, and but it was a great event. We got to expose it to a lot of people that maybe didn't know something about Home of Grace, and it really there's so much more that's coming in the future, like you were just talking about, but. You got to be pinching yourself about how far we've come up to this point.
The Lord has done supernatural things beyond our capability, and I'm grateful that He allows me to be a part of the journey.
Okay. We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're talking with Josh Barton and the Home of Grace. So you don't want to touch that remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Of course, we're talking about Home of Grace, the place where miracles happen. And Josh, when you think of the operation of the Home of Grace, it's what you say, 12, 13 weeks that people are out there, but the amount of volunteers that come out, the amount of people in the community that it takes to put, an operation like of this size on. You've got somebody coming out every morning, every night, like you said, putting on, events on the. I mean, it really is like no place that you could possibly see, and it shows the generosity of the community we live in. But I think that's probably the same everywhere. You just got to give people that opportunity, right. And people generally want to help, and I know you've seen that where you just get call after call just out of the blue.
We do. We've been blessed. My grandfather started Home of Grace 57 years ago. And we still have individuals like Dub Herring who's still engaged and involved after all these years from the very beginning. And it's just been wonderful to continue to see people that have been coming out and encouraging the guys, and whether they're giving financially, whether they're coming out and doing morning devotions, whether they're helping man a volunteer medical clinic or whatever it is.
Right.
It takes an army to do the things that we do. Even the prayers that we get coveted, the prayers that are covering us on a regular basis from others, man, it takes a lot, and we're grateful.
What a lot of people, we don't talk about it enough, but, the man that's going through the Home of Grace, this Christmas season can be tough. I mean, he's separated. He doesn't have the foundation that a lot of people have. He's just rebuilding that. So, it can be a lonely time. But to see the men that are out there encourage that man, that's the cool thing. Because when they came in, if it was, another month earlier, they'd be the one.
It really is. That's a beautiful thing to see someone coming in and struggling and suffering, and a guy that was in that same position just a few weeks before, lifting them up, encouraging them. They don't realize how much it's helping them in week 4, 5, or 6, being the encourager for someone else. But that is a beautiful thing to see.
I think that over the last few years, it's been very encouraging to me to see, the changing of, the mindset of the people here on the Gulf Coast, because Home of Grace is, so close to so many things. And I think we've done that by bringing it out to churches, bringing it to civic groups. I can't think of a time that we don't go to the civic groups that people come forward afterwards and they want to tell you about maybe their son or their husband, or they have these questions and stuff. Today it's not looked at like it was years ago. I mean, it's not, something that you were quiet about. The people that step forward and want to get help, they're the winners, and people look up to that.
Right. And now it's common that every family is dealing with someone in their family that is dealing with a substance abuse issue. And so, it's important for them to speak up and get some help, because there's so many people that are longing to help somebody else. That's part of their journey. And so, during this Christmas season, if you're dealing with something, them and their family, I encourage them, talk to somebody. People are not going to look down. They're looking at helping.
Right.
And so, and then if you want to get involved with somebody at the Home of Grace, I mean, just by sending an encouraging note or letter or somebody that may not have any family, that have lost it all, that's at the Home of Grace this Christmas season, some type of an encouraging note or word goes a long way. Somebody you don't even know that sends you this note and just says, I'm praying for you. You don't know me. So that would be another opportunity to make a difference in someone's life as well.
Let's talk just a little bit about what maybe some of the needs are, because there are some out there that maybe you could think of that if somebody had. Right.
Well, one of the smaller things, like I was saying earlier, I say not smaller, but even if we is all hands on deck running the Home of Grace in so many different ways. And so if someone wanted to provide like even a small meal for our women's campus, to feed 20, 25 ladies or something like that, or something, there's ways that they could put together a Christmas package of just goodies or gifts, or, whether that's toilet papers type items, or toothbrushes and toothpaste, or just snacks and drinks and things like that. That would be something that would be a nice little encouragement for our men and our women going through the, during this Christmas season. Out there, again, those notes, just some type of encouraging note saying that they're lifting them up and they're praying for them. That would all be very, very great things. And then the things you mentioned earlier, if someone's a pastor or they are leading a civic group, please consider reaching out to us, asking us to send our choir or a testimony or someone that could go and share with their group. There's a lot of people in those churches that need to hear that there is hope and there's victory. And so we love to go out and share.
I know that, I think about how things are passing on, and I was sort of grinning as you were talking. I remember Nancy Lemon, Scott's mother, way back at St. Paul, and they were writing little notes and making little cookies to bring out to the women.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Probably cemented in Scott's mind, hey, we could do that. Because, a lot of people they say all the time, how can you go ask?
Right.
That's it. Pick up the phone and ask. And if there's a way that we can accommodate. Now, you said, how many men are at the men's facility right now?
Probably 80, 85 right now.
And women's facility about 20. But, again, that's a lot of families. That's a lot of lives that are being touched. And certainly more than anything, I think prayer, because there is a lot of spiritual warfare on the front line. People don't sometimes understand that. But when you're in it, you understand that.
Absolutely. And I do feel like it's heightened during the holidays. It just seems like that's, you know, it goes a lot deeper and harder during those times. And so those are the best times to really reach in and help someone, give them a little encouragement.
And I think that what people need to understand, and we'll hear from Phillip in just a minute, you know, that you can get better. Your life can change. And he's starting his journey. And here I am 25 years later, having been on a long journey. And there's many people before me and many people after me. So it's not something that you can't do something about. I think when you're in it, you say, what's the point?
Yeah,
well, everything.
Right.
And that's sort of neat that you're able to see that. There's no better gift. I mean, and people ask all the time, why do you do what you do? Well, because I'm sober 25 years.
I could tell you it's a beautiful thing. I was getting gas yesterday, and a guy got out of his car with 2 kids. Josh graduated 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and just to see the excitement in his face. And when you go to a restaurant and see a waitress come up to you, hey, are you Josh the Home and Grace? I know your mom. I graduated 2 years. It's just, I mean, it means a lot to be able to see that.
Maybe we should do something like LSU. Instead of Go Tigers, we go Home and Grace.
Yeah.
And we start doing that.
Right.
Everybody start doing that. Josh, I appreciate you coming
Thank
on.
you.
Appreciate obviously what your family's done all these years. You know, it's not an easy vocation to take on. And, you know, I know that it takes a lot of sacrifice, but it's helped a lot of lives, and what's better return than that? So
thank you.
Appreciate what you do.
Grateful to be a part of it.
We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back with meet a alumni of the Home of Grace that actually is very special to us at the foundation and helped us a tremendous amount. So don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. And of course, we're talking about the Home of Grace. And when you talk about the Home of Grace, you can talk about the beautiful facility, you can talk about the great program that they have, but really it's about the people that go through there. And today I'm real pleased to have with us Phillip Blount. And Phillip is a little unique and has a different perspective than some of them because he lives with me. And so, you know, Phillip, you know, for many, many years, I've tried to help alumni. You know, most of them, you know, like, you know, Zach and Drew, those that have, you know, been through the Trinity House. But what brought you to the Trinity House? I know after the Home of Grace, I think you were telling me that, you know, you want to make sure that you got it right this time.
Yeah, addiction's a tricky thing. And you're not really sure when you are ready to get back in the world. But I just knew I needed some more time for all the time that I did spend messing up. So
I know you've been a blessing to us, and you know, I think one of the first things I said, you know, that, you know, if we could get you involved to have a purpose, because a lot of times you're coming out, we really don't know anything, and you know, you have to have somebody that, you know, believes in, you know, what you can do. And so you started working up at the foundation office, you started doing some things around the Trinity House, you started doing some things out in the community, and you start seeing the light bulb go off. At least I did. I certainly think that, you know, some people go through and it's, you know, not for real, but you can tell others they're really trying to make a difference, and they maybe need a little hand up. I know you got to be pinching yourself that you have this opportunity.
yeah, it's a great opportunity you've given me, man. And I really didn't have any focus until I came out of here and out of the Homes of Grace. And then when you gave me your hand, it really did help. Gave me direction, and it showed me some kind of purpose that I have in this world. And that's been a blessing.
I've always, you know, believed that, you know, if you keep people around healthy people, they'll become healthy. And so, you know, I've got to introduce you to some of my good friends, business partners, and everybody says the same thing. Wow, that's a good kid, you know, and you're not a kid. I mean, you've been, you know, been through the ringer, and, you know, the best testimony is people can't see, you know, the person and the, you know, the addict that we were.
Yes.
And I have that all the time. Oh, that's crazy. You were never like that. Oh, I was actually a lot worse.
Like night and day. It's a totally different ride. I don't remember a lot of it, but I did wake up in the Homes of Grace, and I was really blessed to be in that place. And to get out, to be able to have some purpose that you've shown me, it's really helped out. It's shown me direction.
I think it's also important to let people understand that just because you reach out and you want help and you get help doesn't mean you don't still have consequences for our behavior. And you're still in the process of
going to court,
having to go to court and all that. It may be a year later, but you have shown in that year that you certainly can change. And I certainly want to do whatever part I can do, to stand in front of a judge or whoever it is and say, look, the system's set up to rehabilitate. And I can absolutely say with full assurance that you've done the best you can. And you may have a long way to go, but you've come a very, very long way. And I know that you've done it through, a daily discipline of getting up, you're taking care of your mother, you're going to meetings, going to church. But the main thing is you're not using drugs or alcohol.
I'm not back in that old way that I used to wake up and then have that need for that. But when I went to the Homes of Grace, I lost all that need and want for that kind of lifestyle, and kind of showed me a light that there is some kind of direction to go and have purpose in this world.
I know that you said the other day, how thankful you were of the Home of Grace and the good work that they do out there. You've got to meet some others like myself and, go to like some Rotary clubs and hear different stories and things like that. Here you are coming out, and this is probably your sort of intro into telling a little bit about your story or testimony. But once you do it and you start seeing it, because you'll get feedback, you'll get people, hey, I saw you on TV, or, I'm proud of what I did with my life. I'm proud of, that I'm not that person I was before. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, you wouldn't have liked me as that person I was.
I'm really thankful
before.
that you are the person you are now. It's given me a lot of place to go in this world, man. And you've helped out a lot of other people, and that really does show with the people that you hang around with, and that people are out there to give a hand, and people that do receive a hand hopefully can give out too. Well,
you've been a tremendous help, like I said, to the Baco Foundation. I mean, from our fashion show to, like I said, the civic clubs to, cleaning up around the office or doing some things in office, actually been an invaluable help, and we hope that will continue.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity that you've given me. It's amazing what you've been doing and what other people out there are really willing to do to help, and it's really shown a great light.
Now, Phillip, if somebody was out there and they were watching this show, and there will be people out there watching, and they're out there and they just can't stop. Hey, I'm hopeless. There's no point. What's the point? What would you say to them?
Get away from it. Go to a place that, like the Homes of Grace, where you can be away from it and find yourself and find some kind of meaning, because it is pretty bleak in that world. You don't really know any direction or what to do, but there's people like you, and there's foundations out there to help, and the Homes of Grace is a really good place to start.
I know that there's an old adage, and it might be, I don't know if I read it in a book, probably one of Alcoholics Anonymous or some book, that said you got to clear the mind before spiritual measures can work, and you've got to separate yourself, like I said, from the substance so your mind can think clearly. But then once that takes hold and you start building the foundation, you can actually use that past as an asset going forward, because you've been through some pretty incredible things to get to where you're at. And the other thing we always say is never give up. Never give up. I'd been to all those treatment centers before Home of Grace, but on that 41st one, I got up, and I've stayed up. So again, you're to be commended for what you've done. You've been, just a great asset, not only to the foundation, but to me personally. And, I appreciate you coming on TV. This isn't the easiest thing in the world. I see a little sweat starting to gather up there, but that's sort of natural. I can remember the first time I was on TV or did my first interview, and appreciate what you do and what you're trying to do.
Thank you for the opportunity that you've given me, man. It really is a blessing. Okay. And I'm glad I didn't freeze up.
Yeah. And we appreciate everybody's support of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi. Until next time, this is Todd Pritchard saying so long and may God bless.